365 Days. Recap. At the start of the movie, after a meeting between the Torricelli Sicilian mafia crime family and black market dealers, Massimo Torricelli watches a beautiful woman on a beach and talks with his father. We see two people planning to get married, Laura and Massimo, the mafia don, making love before marriage. The bride's friend Olga sees them and asks, "What are you doing before marriage? If Granny sees this, she will become mad." Olga also asks the couple to please respect Polish tradition. Massimo just turns around to go back and asks Olga, "Are you jealous? Make sure you join us next time." He leaves, and Olga shouts and exclaims, "Ghost hiding inside him, please run away. Turn his hotness into coldness. Run away, Satan. See you later." Olga says to Laura that she thinks everything goes well for her, saying, "Your dress and your marriage, you won't improve yourself." Olga lights a smoke, but Laura comes to her and takes the cigarette from her hand. Olga says, "I won't say anything about smoking, but you don't look stylish while smoking, and it seems to me that you have not told him anything. My friend said you also tried to tell him." Laura says, "I have tried to tell him every day, but I don't want to tell him that I am pregnant with his child." Olga says, "What a daring idea for a woman to hide a secret. Well, there is no fire in her relationship." Laura says, "What should I do? Should I tell him the tunnel in which I was dying, his baby died? After that, Massimo would become mad. These people are not like us. There would be bloodshed." Olga says, "Laura, what nonsense are you sprouting?" Laura says, "You know him. He won't forgive anyone easily. Revenge is in his blood, and we are in Sicile." "I am sorry," says Olga. "I never saw such a strong girl like you. Remember that I am always with you." In the following scene, Laura and Massimo come to their room, and he says to his wife, "Laura, you have 1 hour. After that, you will do anything I ask." She replies, "No, you will do anything I ask. Now sit down." She ties his hands and makes love to him. The next day, Laura and Don Massimo come back to their home and see Olga and Massimo's friend making love. Massimo asks, "What would you like to eat, Laura? But you two are busy eating each other. Calm yourselves. Your love drops are staining my furniture. Please tell me which furniture I have to change." Don Massimo says, "Ladies, I think you should talk somewhere else. Domenico," he is a friend of Massimo and his right-hand man in his gang, "and I have some work, and you should wear a normal suit." "Massimo," says Olga, "what is that? Is it cake? Laura, I will also prepare something for you. What will you order?" Don Massimo says, "I think you would like to enjoy yourself. It's not a joke." Laura then says, "Then why don't you put a leash on my neck?" Don Massimo tells Domenico that he will be waiting for him in the office. Laura says, "You see, Massimo, arrange that trip and do so much, and I am behaving like my mother." Olga says, "You are behaving worse, like a typical wife," and then laughs. "Thank you, Olga. You know me best," says Laura. Olga replies, "Why not? We are best soulmates." Olga says, "You know Massimo well, and you do that." Then she swears and says to Laura, "I have a great plan." In the following scene, we see that she came back home and romanced and satisfied him. The next morning, when they wake up, Laura and Massimo kiss each other. Massimo's mobile rings, and he says to Laura that he was running late. She says, "You should wait some time more and you won't regret it." He says, "I know, but I am getting late and we have returned to our normal life. You know that, my baby girl." In the following scene, we see Laura and Olga laughing and running out of their homes. Olga says, I will drive. Laura says, if an accident happens, who would repair it? Olga says that if she can drive in wartime, then she can do it now, too. Laura tells her to change seats and says, I will drive myself. What would I do while sitting? You want me to just move my hands and then see what I will do. She goes to the beach and laughs while talking of old times, how they met, how her mom shouts while hanging in the windows. How old are they, like 6? Laura says, it doesn't matter which car we drive. What is important is that we are together and we always stay together. I can go with you to any corner of the world, Olga said. In the evening, Laura says, Don Massimo, I have some requirements. Our start was not good, but don't make it worse. I am your wife, not your gang member. And I love you, and we are together because I said yes, you can't control anyone, and don't control me. Massimo says, I just want to protect you. Laura says, it's not protection, but jail. And I can't live like that. I am losing my freedom. She leaves and sits in the car. He also returns to the car and says, you are right. My behavior was not good. In the following scene, we see a random person come and ask, are you Miss Massimo? She says, yes, I am Laura. I am Nacho. He is a person Massimo hires for his garden. He says, and I am a gardener. Nice to meet you. Laura says, I like your cap. He says, I know. Laura says, you don't look Italian. Yes, I am from Spain, he says. And where are you from? Laura says, Poland. And how many years have you been working for my husband? He said he just started as Massimo wants to change his garden. I have to go now. I don't want to waste your time, he says. She says, time for everyone to be doing their work. But I have nothing. I have only one job, and that is to be a wife. Life is boring. Nacho says, it's not that easy to become a good wife. It's an impossible task. Thanks for the tea. I have to go now. I will bring some good flowers next time. In the following scene, they are dining with their whole family. Massimo gives the file to Laura and says, congrats, now you are the owner of your clothing company. You like to work, so I will allow you to do this work. I know you like fashion. Laura says, I love you. It's very difficult to give a gift to someone who has everything, but I have one that is special. Domenico then gives a gift to Olga and says, open it, and proposes to her. Will you marry me? She says, yes. And then they married each other. The next morning, she thanks Massimo for inviting his parents. It's a beautiful gift, she says. He says that he only had Mario. He is a good friend of Massimo and his right-hand man, and Domenico, but Mario didn't like this, so he left my right hand and left me. Laura says, sometimes I feel you are alone. You have nothing other than me. He says that he has one brother, and Laura says, what? You didn't tell me about your brother? He says, I remember some work, and left. In the evening, they came to the party, and Massimo was talking to another person. Laura says, I want to go back. He says, don't you see I am talking? She says, yes, you are talking to him very calmly, and to me you are very rude. Massimo says, I just want to talk one more important topic, and left the chair. In the following scene, Laura's parents come and say thanks for inviting them. They have enjoyed themselves. But Laura says, I don't think Dad enjoys it that much. Laura's mom says, in marriage, both have to compromise on something. Then the parents dance with each other, and Laura roams around and sees that on the floor above, Massimo is talking to another woman, Anna, who has enmity with Massimo, and they go into a room. She hurriedly goes to the second floor and searches for him, opening the rooms one after the other on this floor. When she opens one of the rooms, she sees Massimo making love with the other woman. She leaves the party and comes outside and sees Nacho and asks him to take her from this place. On the way, he tells Laura that he is going back home, only waiting for his ticket. If she wants to come, he can wait. Laura says, "Give me some time," and calls her parents and leaves a message that she wants some time for herself. She is saved and asks Nacho to take her from this place somewhere far away. In the following scene, we see that Nacho is cooking and comes outside with food and says, "You look good. These clothes suit you nice, Laura." She tells him she found the outfit in the closet. Laura says, "It's your girlfriend's clothes." Nacho says, "I don't have a girlfriend. It's my sister Emily's. She should be arriving by now. You will like each other, but the problem is that your partner is not a good person. You should rest. I will clean the rest." In the following scene, Laura's mother comes to Massimo and asks what happened between them. Laura leaves a message that she is going to leave him and they are going back, so don't try to stop them. In the following scene, we see Massimo sitting. Anna introduces herself, but he was angry and left her behind. In the following scene, we see Laura and Nacho talking to each other, and Laura says, "I miss him. Maybe something is wrong with her that he did this to her." Nacho interrupts her and says, "Don't ever say that again. It's not your fault he leaves women like you. It must be his fault." In the following scene, Domenico, Massimo, and Olga are eating. Domenico receives a call and talks with Massimo in Italian. Olga can't understand and asks him to tell her what he's talking about and if it's about Laura. He says no, it's work. She speaks loudly that Laura is gone and they are talking about business and left. In the following scene, Nacho makes love with Laura. After that, she sleeps, but then hears a gunshot and comes running outside to see that Nacho was fighting with someone and killed them. The next morning, Laura asks what happened last night. Nacho says, "Forget about it. They were some robbers. Enjoy your food." Laura asks why robbers would come to his house and how he knows how to fight and is a simple gardener living a luxurious life. He doesn't answer and says, "Don't spoil the mood." She tells him that last night she was not feeling well, so he said he will take her to some good place. The next day, Massimo and Domenico were driving together in the car, and Domenico received a call that the people he sent were killed. He was getting angry and threw a punch at the dashboard. In the following scene, we see Massimo sitting, and then he receives a message after he calls someone. In the following scene, they are eating food together while talking, and he tells her it's his asylum and he likes to have a girl like her with him, and he wants her to meet his father, and Massimo will be there. She asks him to tell her who he is and to stop bullshitting about just being a gardener, and that is his last chance. Nacho says he is Marcelo Nacho Matos, son of Don Fernando Matos, head of the local mafia, and eternal rival of her husband's family. Laura says, "Did your father tell you to bring me here?" He says, "You came yourself." Laura says, "If I was refused, I would have found a way. I was so naive. I thought you were my real friend. So nothing was a coincidence." Nacho said his feelings weren't fake. But Laura said, "I thank you for proving that men are not good, only good at lying," and tried to go. But Nacho stops her and says he loves her. She says, "If you think you can have me, then you are wrong. I learned from my mistakes, and you are a liar." Nacho says, You came with me yourself because you feel safe, and I am done with these games. In the following scene, we see that Nacho and Laura are together, and he says that she has no choice because his father is a rich man. Laura says, "You always have a choice. You just have to take responsibility for your choice." In the following scene, we see them arrive at Nacho's father's house, and two people come and take Laura with them. Nacho says, "Be careful." And she says, "I really don't think that anything worse can happen like the last few days." In the following scene, we see Don Fernando, father of Nacho, talking to Massimo about the problem and giving him a warning through Laura's accident that he is expanding his business too much if he doesn't want his brother to take his place. Massimo gets angry and says, "If you think I will give my place to a traitor who put my dad in the hand of death, then you are wrong." Don Fernando threatens that his wife is in his hands. Massimo says, "You call yourself a man of honor." Nacho enters the room and tells them that Adriano, Massimo's brother who wants to take everything from him, is here. Then both Massimo and Nacho go outside for Laura with guns in their hands. Laura is talking to Adriano, thinking that Massimo is here. Then she realizes that it's not Massimo. Laura asks where Massimo is, and he says, "You have to wait because he is busy." Mario says, "I have to take back what's mine and get rid of your husband." Then Anna comes from behind and turns the gun to Laura and Massimo, and Nacho also comes and turns the guns towards Adriano and Anna. Adriano threatens to kill Laura if he comes close. He threatens Massimo and kisses Laura's cheeks and says, "I wonder what your child would be like, you or her." Then Laura gets away from Adriano and tries to go to Massimo. But Anna shoots Laura and Massimo shoots Anna. And Adriano tries to kill Massimo, but Massimo also shoots him. Then Nacho turns the gun toward Massimo and then leaves the room. Massimo runs toward Laura and holds her hand and starts crying. The end.